The scene opened with Yandy sitting alone in her living room, glow from her phone screen casting soft light over her tear-streaked face. She'd been staring at the same post for nearly an hour. Photos of Mendeecees and Erica, hand in hand, smiling in matching white outfits. The caption on Erica's page read, "Forever starts today. #married life." Keynes's fingers trembled as she scrolled through the comments. People were tagging her relentlessly. Yandy, say it ain't true? He really did. You like this? After everything you did for him. Each notification felt like another stab in her chest. Her heart was pounding, her mind racing, trying to process the impossible. This was the man she had fought for. Stood by, defended through every scandal. Every hardship, the man she had once believed was her forever. As the cameras rolled, she whispered through tears, "He didn't even have the decency to tell me himself. I had to find out online, like everyone else." Her voice cracked as she wiped her cheeks. "I gave that man everything. My time, my loyalty, my youth. I held him down when he had nothing. I loved him through his darkest days. And now he's out here building a life with someone else." Her best friend Emily tried to comfort her, rubbing her shoulder, but Yandy pulled away, shaking her head. "I was the one who fought for us," she said, her tone rising between anger and heartbreak. "When people said I was stupid for staying, I stayed. When they said he'd never change, I still believed in him. And this is what I get." Her tears turned to sobs, heavy and uncontrollable. "He married her," she whispered again, as if saying it out loud would somehow make it make sense. "After everything, he married her." The camera lingered on Yandy's face, a woman shattered, but slowly realizing that the love she fought so hard to save had never fought for her. The night the news broke, Yandy Smith's world came crashing down. It started with a phone call from her friend Kimbella, a shaky voice on the other end saying, "Girl, you need to sit down before you see this." Yandy, confused, asked what was going on. But before Kimbella could even explain, her phone started blowing up, text after text, notification after notification. Her Instagram feed was flooded with one name, Mendeecees. At first, she thought it was just another rumor, another one of those clickbait stories the blogs made up to get views. But when she saw the photos, her breath caught in her throat. Mendeecees standing next to Erica in a white suit, smiling at the camera. Erica beaming in a lace gown, her hand proudly showing off a sparkling ring. The caption under the post said it all. The start of forever, #married life, #Erica and Mendeecees. Yandy's hands started shaking so hard she could barely hold her phone. She read the caption over and over again, trying to convince herself it was fake. Photoshopped something. But the reality was staring her in the face. The man she had loved for over a decade. The man she'd held down when he was behind bars. The man she had once called her soulmate. Had not only left her, he had married someone else. She felt the air leave her body. The room spun as she sank onto the couch, the phone slipping from her fingers and landing on the floor. No, this can't be real," she whispered to herself. But the tears came anyway, slow at first, then uncontrollable. All the memories flooded back. Their first date. The nights she stayed up waiting for his calls from prison. The promises he made when he got out. He had looked her in the eyes and told her she was his everything. And now he was building forever with someone else. Minutes turned into hours. Yandy sat there in silence, numb, her mind replaying every moment of their relationship. When the producers from Love and Hip Hop called her, she ignored every ring. She didn't want to film. She didn't want to talk. She didn't even want to breathe. Eventually, Kimbella showed up at her apartment, letting herself in with the spare key. The second she saw Yandy's face, the empty stare, the tears still drying on her cheeks, she knew. "You saw it," Kimbella said softly. Yandy didn't respond. She just pointed to her phone on the floor. Kimbella picked it up, scrolled, and sighed heavily. "I'm so sorry, girl," she whispered, sitting beside her. Yandy turned to her slowly, her eyes red and swollen. "How could he do this to me?" she asked, her voice shaking. "After everything I've done for him, I stood by him through everything. Everything." Kimbella tried to console her, but Yandy pulled away, standing abruptly. "No, I need to hear it from him," she said, grabbing her phone again. She called Mendeecees once, twice, 3 times, no answer. On the 4th call, it went straight to voicemail. That silence hurt more than anything. "He's really hiding," Yandy muttered, pacing back and forth. "He can post a wedding picture, but he can't pick up the phone." Kimbella's heart broke watching her friend unravel. "You don't deserve this, Yandy. You gave that man everything," she said softly. But Yandy wasn't listening. Her mind was racing, her emotions all over the place. "I built him up," she cried. "I put his name back on the map when nobody cared. I took care of his kids. I made sure he had something to come home to. And now he's out here embarrassing me like this." She slammed her phone down on the table, tears streaming again. "You know what the worst part is?" she said, her voice breaking. "I believed him. After all the lies, all the cheating rumors, all the times people warned me, I still believed him. Because I thought love meant loyalty. But clearly, I was the only one who felt that way." Kimbella hugged her tightly as she sobbed into her shoulder. The cameras, quietly rolling from a distance, captured every second, not for drama, but because this was raw, unfiltered heartbreak. This wasn't a scene. This was real. Hours later, when Yandy was finally alone again, she sat in the dark, staring out the window. Her phone buzzed with hundreds of notifications, but she ignored them. Instead, she whispered to herself, "He married her." The words felt heavy in her mouth, like poison she couldn't spit out. After everything, he married her. That night, she didn't sleep. She replayed every conversation they'd ever had about marriage. Every time he said, "Not ready yet." Every excuse, every delay. Now she realized he just wasn't ready for her. By morning, the story had gone viral. Blogs ran headlines like "Mendeecees moves on," "Secret marriage to Erica sparks online outrage," and Yandy Smith, heartbroken after Mendeecees, ties the knot with Erica. The world was talking about her pain like it was a TV episode, and Yandy couldn't escape it. But what the world didn't know was that this wasn't just heartbreak. This was betrayal on the deepest level. For years, Yandy had fought for her love story. Now all she had left were the pieces of a broken fairy tale and the painful realization that sometimes the people you build up are the same ones who break you down. The days following the revelation were a blur for Yandy. The shock had worn off, but the pain had only grown heavier. Every time she picked up her phone, she saw more photos of Mendeecees and Erica honeymoon pictures, smiling selfies, comments full of congratulations. Each one felt like a slap in the face. She'd deleted the apps twice already, but curiosity and heartbreak made her re-download them every time. It was torture she couldn't seem to stop inflicting on herself. Kimbella refused to leave her side. "You gotta eat, girl," she said softly, setting a plate down in front of Yandy, who hadn't had more than coffee in 2 days. Yandy just shook her head. "I can't. It's like my stomach turns every time I think about it." Her voice cracked, and she looked away, blinking back tears. "I can't believe he really did this to me, Kim. I was supposed to be his forever. I waited. I prayed. I fought for that man." Kimbella sighed and sat beside her. "You gave him everything, Yandy. But you gotta stop blaming yourself for his choices. This ain't on you." Yandy wiped her face, her eyes tired but fierce. "It is on me, though. I kept making excuses for him. I kept saying he's just figuring things out. He just needs time. I gave him every chance. And all he did was waste mine." As the hours passed, Yandy sat scrolling through old photos, vacations, birthdays, family events. The smiles in those pictures felt fake now, like distant memories from another life. "I loved him more than I loved myself," she whispered. "That was my mistake." Later that evening, her assistant came rushing in, phone in hand. "Yandy, you need to see this." She handed over the screen, showing a clip of Mendeecees on Instagram Live. He was sitting in a dimly lit room, looking serious, his tone defensive. "Y'all gotta stop acting like I'm some monster," he said. "Me and Yandy haven't been good for a long time. What happened between me and Erikit wasn't planned. It just happened. Yandy stared at the screen in disbelief. Her hands clenched into fists. It just happened. She repeated under her breath. He married her. That's not something that just happens. She stood abruptly, her voice shaking with anger. I can't believe he's out here trying to make it sound like it's my fault. Kimbella tried to calm her down. Yandy, don't even respond to that. You don't owe him anything. Let him talk. But Yandy couldn't sit still. No, because he's rewriting the story. He's out there acting like I was some nagging girlfriend who pushed him away when I built his whole comeback. I'm the reason people even remember his name. Her assistant nodded hesitantly. It's trending everywhere, Yandy. People are saying he's trying to make himself look like the victim. Yandy laughed bitterly. Of course he is. That's what he does best, plays the victim while I look like the fool. That night, Yandy finally broke her silence. She posted a photo of herself sitting on her balcony, her eyes swollen but her posture strong. The caption read, "Loyalty doesn't mean losing yourself. Sometimes the people you hold down are the same ones who leave you on the ground. But I'm still standing, and I always will." Within minutes, her post exploded online. Thousands of comments poured in from fans, celebrities, and women who saw themselves in her pain. You're stronger than you think. Keep your head up. Queen, he'll regret this forever. Even other reality stars reached out, diming her messages of support. Meanwhile, Mendeecees' live video backfired. Instead of sympathy, he got backlash. So you're proud of breaking a woman who loved you. One user wrote, "You married Erica for clout, not love." Another said, "You don't accidentally marry someone. Be real." The comments were ruthless, and the public opinion quickly turned against him. Back at home, Yandy scrolled through the supportive messages, tears falling again. Not from pain this time, but from gratitude. "I didn't realize so many people understood," she said softly. Kimbella smiled, squeezing her hand. "Because they saw you love him, right? That's why this hits people so hard. You did everything right. He's the one who failed you." The next day, producers from Love and Hip Hop called. They wanted to film a private conversation with Yandy about what happened. Just her, no drama, no setup, no fake reactions. Yandy hesitated. "I don't want people to think I'm using this for ratings," she said quietly. The producer's voice softened. "People already know your story. They've seen your loyalty. Now they deserve to see your truth." So she agreed. When filming began, Yandy sat in her living room. No glam squad. No fancy outfit, just her in sweats, raw and unfiltered. "I gave that man everything," she said, voice trembling. "And when he walked away, I felt like I lost a part of myself. But then I realized, maybe I didn't lose anything. Maybe I just made room for something better." She paused, tears filling her eyes. People always tell you to hold your man down, to be patient, to ride or die. But they never tell you what to do when the man you ride for leaves you stranded. They never teach you how to rebuild after betrayal. Her honesty struck a chord. When the episode aired, it became one of the most watched moments in Love and Hip Hop history. Fans flooded the network's page with messages praising her strength. Yandy had turned her heartbreak into healing. And the world watched in awe. But behind closed doors, she was still healing. Late at night, she'd stare at her phone, half expecting a message from Mendeecees that never came. The silence was painful, but each day, it hurt a little less. By the end of that week, she deleted his number for good. If he wanted me, he would have chosen me, she told herself. And I'm done waiting for a man who doesn't know my value. And for the first time in years, Yandy meant it. Weeks passed, and slowly Yandy began to reclaim her peace. The heartbreak hadn't vanished, still lived in quiet moments. In the way certain songs hurt to hear, or how her phone felt too light without his name lighting up the screen. But something inside her had changed. The woman who had once spent years waiting for a man to choose her was finally learning how to choose herself. She started waking up early again, going on walks with her kids before school, finding small moments of joy in the ordinary. She poured her energy into her business ventures, mentoring young women, and relaunching her nonprofit for underprivileged youth. "If I can pour this much love into a man," she said during one meeting, "imagine what happens when I pour it into my purpose." Okay. Those who knew her could see the difference. Her smile was softer but more real. The pain was still there, but it no longer controlled her. Mendeecees, on the other hand, was unraveling. What he thought would bring him peace. His new marriage had turned into chaos. Erica's posts that once painted a picture of happiness now hinted at trouble. Cryptic captions appeared. "Sometimes forever don't last long." Fans began speculating that things weren't as perfect as they seemed. Behind the scenes, friends said he was distracted, distant, and consumed with guilt. "He keeps talking about Yandy," one mutual friend confided. "He knows he messed up bad." When the Love and Hip Hop producers invited both of them to film the reunion special, it was the first time they would be in the same room since everything went public. Yandy hesitated at first, but agreed. "I'm not doing it for him," she said. "I'm doing it for me. I need to close this chapter with my head high." The day of filming, Yandy arrived early, looking effortlessly stunning in a sleek black dress. Her confidence radiated from her like armor. When Mendeecees walked in, the energy in the room shifted instantly. He froze when he saw her, and for a moment, you could see it the regret, the realization that he'd lost something irreplaceable. During the taping, the host didn't waste any time addressing the elephant in the room. "Yandy," she began gently, "the world watched your heartbreak unfold. How are you doing now?" Yandy took a deep breath, sitting tall. "I'm healing," she said simply. "I won't lie and say it doesn't hurt, it does. But I've learned that sometimes the ending you never wanted becomes the beginning you needed." The audience erupted in applause. Even Mendeecees bowed his head, visibly emotional. The host then turned to him. "Do you regret how things played out?" He nodded slowly. "Every day," he said softly. "I'll never forgive myself for hurting her the way I did." Yandy looked at him, her eyes steady but kind. "I don't hate you, Mendeecees," she said. "I just hate what you became to me. You were supposed to be my partner, my peace, and you became my pain. But I forgive you not for you, but for me. I deserve peace." Tears filled Mendeecees' eyes as the audience fell silent. He whispered, "You were always my peace, Yandy. I just didn't realize it until it was too late." Yandy smiled faintly, her strength unshaken. "That's usually how it goes," she said softly. After filming wrapped, the two shared a quiet moment backstage. No cameras, no audience, just two people who once shared everything. "I really am sorry," he said again. Yandy nodded. "I know," she replied, "but sorry doesn't fix it. You didn't just break my heart, you broke my trust, and I can't rebuild that with you. Not anymore." You wanted to say more, but she turned to leave. Before walking away, she said one last thing. "I hope you learn to love right one day. I really do." Then she was gone. In the months that followed, Yandy's glow was undeniable. She launched a mentorship program called Reclaiming Her. It's a safe space for women who'd lost themselves in toxic relationships. Her story became a symbol of resilience, and interviews about her journey went viral. "You can survive betrayal and still believe in love," she said in one interview. "You just have to start with loving yourself first." Meanwhile, Mendeecees faded from the spotlight. Rumors of trouble in his marriage grew stronger, but Yandy didn't care anymore. "That's no longer my business," she told her followers. "I've made peace with my past." One evening, as she sat on her balcony overlooking the city, her kids asleep and her phone silent, for once, Yandy smiled. The same city that had witnessed her public heartbreak was now watching her rebuild stronger than ever. "I thought losing him was the end of my story," she said quietly to herself. Turns out, it was just the beginning. And as the camera faded out on that quiet moment, the audience could see what Mendeecees couldn't. The woman he broke had become the woman he could never replace. If Yandy's journey has shown anything, it's that heartbreak doesn't have to be the end. It can be the beginning of your rebirth. She poured everything into a man who couldn't match her loyalty. And when the truth shattered her world, she rebuilt herself piece by piece. She turned pain into purpose, tears into strength, and walked away not because she stopped loving him, but because she finally started loving herself more. Her story is a reminder to every woman who's ever given too much to someone who gave too little. Your worth isn't measured by who stays. It's proven by how you rise after they leave. Yandy didn't crumble when love failed her. She evolved. She learned that the peace that comes from self-respect is louder than any apology. So take her lesson with you. Stop waiting for closure, stop chasing validation, and start choosing peace. The version of you that comes after heartbreak is stronger, wiser, and freer than you can imagine. If her story moved you, share it. Subscribe for more. And remember, sometimes God removes people from your life because he heard conversations you didn't.